Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, May the 28th. This is the Made in Paradise podcast coming to you from Costa Rica. My name is John Clark, and these are my co-hosts, Anthony Ferguson and Darin Fingleton. We are the crew of Proven Performer that sponsors this podcast, and we're in the closeout business. We do big closeout deals, and we'll talk to you about that at the end of the episode. Right now, we're going to talk about life and love and all the things in between. Anthony, you got some subject matter for us this morning. What you got?
Yes, sir. Let me ask you, why are humans attracted to dangerous activities?
Are we talking about like extreme sports, those kind of activities, those kind of dangerous activities, or like, yeah, okay. So we love adrenaline rush. What else can I say? We love experiences. That's what we're here. It's why we incarnate, is to have experiences. And of course, why not have extreme experiences? I think everybody would have them if they didn't have the fear of it. Right. So the fear blocks us from that. But, you know, when I was younger, I had a whole lot of extreme experiences. I remember in Dallas, Texas, they used to have this thing with two forks. It would pull you back like this. Right. It's slingshot you out. And, you know, yeah. I rode. There used to be an amusement park in Houston, Texas called Astroworld. I remember as a kid, I was about maybe 17 or 18 years old. And I got on this roller coaster called Grease Lightning that would go out this way and it would do a loop and it would go right straight up in the air and it would come back down and do that loop and go back. And when I was in the middle of the loop, right, I was in the middle of the loop coming back, the bar that held me in, the safety bar, flew up. So I had to hold myself in with the bar being loose. Went all the way back in. That same trip to Astroworld, me and three other guys that were not small guys either. We got on a brand new ride called, I think it was called Dungeon Drop, where they take you up this thing and go click, 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 click. And you get to the top and it goes boom, 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 like this. And it just free for all drop you. And then when it came to the end, it would curve out this way like this. And so you'd end up on your back because it dropped you so fast and you went out that way. And we broke the ride. We were the very first ones to break that ride. We sat in the sun for like over an hour with our hands like this because the sun was right overhead, and they had to go get some technicians to get us out of the ride because we were too heavy for it, and we had gone down the emergency track. So we'd gone way too far out there and they had to come pull us back. And for the rest of the day, all of us had sunburns around those things in our eyes. But we do it because we love the adrenaline rush, for sure.
Okay, so yeah. From your own experience, what does fear feel like in an extreme situation?
Does fear feel like an extreme situation? I think that's different between the situations that you're in, because sometimes you're in a financially devastating experience, and that's one kind of fear, and then there's the fear of imminent physical body danger, like when I was a police officer, right? One time we went on a raid, and I was never one of the first few guys through the door because I'm so big. You know, it's like hitting me is like hitting the broadside of a barn. And we were doing this raid on this guy's house. It was an old nasty looking house or whatever, and we had the warrant, and we all line up at the door, and they bust the door in and they go inside. And when we get inside the guy's house, is a living room, right? And the garage door is to the left, and they grab the guy, and one of the officers opens the garage door, and when he peeks outside, the garage is literally full of army style automatic weapons, hand grenades, and we had no idea it was there. We were serving a warrant over a child pornography issue, right? And we had no idea those weapons were there. And it was just one of those moments. I felt this fear go over me, like I could have just died right there in that moment because we were not prepared. And if the guy had his gun, whatever, he would have opened fire on us for sure. So
or anybody else in the house. Oh, yeah, that's crazy.
I think fear has a whole lot of different feelings that go with it, right? We fear the future, and that's one kind of fear. But remember this about fear: no matter what it is, you're creating it. It's inside your consciousness, and you create it. Andrew went last night to a public speaking class and was talking about the fear that went along with that, right? So you had to stand up in front of all these people she didn't know and speak to them unprepared, right? And that was another type of fear that I don't experience at all. Like if you could just take me at any particular crowd and there's 50 people and say, John, get up in front and talk to everybody. I have no fear of it whatsoever because my confidence has overcome it. But at the same time, if I'm on that stage and a guy comes down the aisle and pulls out a gun and he's pointing it at me, I'm sure I'm probably going to feel I need to get out of the way fear.
Right. So do extreme sport make people mentally stronger?
I think so. I think it makes them present. And I've always thought about when Tony Hawk is right in the middle of whatever his tricks. And I always say to myself, he has to be the most ultimate of present in that moment. He's not thinking about his electric bill. He's not thinking about, he had a fight with his wife. He didn't think about any of that. His whole mind is in that thing. Like you watch Olympic athletes or anything else, they visualize and visualize and visualize, and they do it and do it and do it and do it. And now here he's in front of you. It's the ultimate in presence. I think you could have a massive distraction on the side, and Tony Hawk is never going to look away because his awareness has become so much into his craft.
Right. So why do some people need adrenaline to feel alive?
I can't say that that's true. I can't say that some people need adrenaline to feel alive. I don't think that at this point in my life, I need adrenaline to feel alive. But if someone says that, they say, I need adrenaline to feel alive. Well, they're just saying, I need more life experience. I want to go harder at life. I want to feel life more. Okay, we're here to experience. I can understand that, but I don't think we need it.
Right. Okay. So what's the difference between courage and recklessness from your point of view?
Confidence. And I mean, being sure of what you're sure of, right? I think that in courageousness, there's confidence. And in recklessness, there isn't. And you're not present in recklessness either. If you're being reckless, you're completely unpresent.
So do extreme experience change a person psychologically?
Absolutely. All of our experiences changes down to a cellular level. So the more extreme it is, I mean, think about trauma and how long it lasts. When something happens to us that's devastating, a person in our life that dies that we love, or someone is, addicted to drugs, right? And that's affecting us. It may affect us for a long, long, long time. Absolutely.
So why do people voluntarily face danger? Like
why do people volunteer?
Right.
Well, that can be a whole bunch of different reasons, right? You may voluntarily face danger in a nuclear accident, right? Because you want to save people, or you want to talk about snake handlers. I mean, they may do that for status. When I look at those snake handler preachers, right, that are holding a snake, and they often die, by the way. I mean, they often get bit and die because of that. When I look at them, I mean, it's just foolishness. You're just trying to draw attention to yourself. It doesn't have anything to do with God.
Does fear and phobia is the same thing? You have phobia.
Yes. Phobia is just an extreme version of fear. And don't think that all fear is bad either, because all fear is not bad. You have a natural fear of heights, right? So you don't plunge yourself off the side of a cliff thinking you can fly. So not all fear is bad. Some fear is good for us.
Right. I remember I had this experience that I was walking to tomemai.com, right? Remember, in Heredia?
Yeah.
So I was going on the sidewalk, and I was walking with my head down, making sure I don't step in no dog poo, whatever. And then when I lifted my head, like 5 meters away, there's this man coming towards me with a giant snake wrapped around his hand, right? And when I looked at this guy, I jumped immediately in the street, right? Because I was scared, right? And then the guy said to me, he started to laugh and say, "Tranquilo, right? Calm down. She's a innocent, beautiful snake. She won't do anything to you." I'm like, "You son of a pee!" My heart was beating hard, right? So like 5 minutes after, I calmed down, I started breathing, and I realized that was stupid, right? I jumped in the street where there's always like traffic going back and forth, and I didn't realize that what I did was more dangerous than just walking close to the snake.
Just walking past the snake, right?
Right.
But now you have an irrational fear, right? You have an irrational fear that comes from something else that you're really not sure of. I used to have a pet snake. We used to have a pet reticulated python in the house, right? And we passed around, played with it all the time, and it bit us a couple of times. It never bit very hard, but it was in my early years, I was around snakes all the time. But you reminded me of this story. I was in Dallas at the Improv, and I was seeing this black comedian named Earthquake, and he starts into this routine. I think I was going to fall. I think I may have fallen out of the chair laughing so hard. He said, you ever notice those guys like Steve Irwin, all these adventure guys? He said, they're all white. He goes, you will not see a black man stick his hand down and pick up a poisonous snake. We're just smarter than that. Right. And he said, if you see an animal on this side of the road, he said, the black man's going to see that animal down there and he's going to say, I'm going to cross over here to this other side of the road. The white man's going to say, let me run up there and grab that. He said, it's a complete cultural difference. And I was just dying laughing because it's true. You never see that out the world. Anyway, go ahead.
Right. One more question. So what can fear teach humans about themselves?
It's going to teach you where you're stuck. Because most people are stuck someplace, and what I mean is they're trying to advance in life, but they have something in their life that they can't personally see. And usually, what you're afraid of is where you're stuck. So it's just showing you, okay, here's a place in my life. Here's something I need to work on. And when I was young, I was telling you about the rides in Dallas and Houston and all that. So when I was young, I was not afraid of heights at all. Now I am. If I watch a TV that's a big TV and like a roller coaster going on, I will feel my stomach drop when it happens. And it came with age. It's vertigo that came with age. So that kind of fear, I don't think is blocking me from enjoying life, except that I'm not going on any hot air balloon rides or skydiving. Right. But a lot of times we have a fear in relationship, or we have a fear in business, or a fear in something else that's not rational. And we're allowing it to control our life because we just don't want to face up to it directly and look at it and say, what's the root cause of this? Because like you jumping in the street over the snake, you never jumped in the street over a snake before. And you've never been bitten by a snake and put in the hospital. And you've lived in a community full of snakes for your whole life. So that's an irrational fear. So you have to say, well, where does it come from? Right? What's the raíz? What's the root of this? Where does it go back to?
It could be just a prior life of yours. You were bitten by a poisonous snake and could have killed you.
Very true. Very true. Very true. And that's a very common thing of people that have what seems to be an irrational fear, but it's coming from a past life imprint.
Well, that was all from my side. What about Darin?
Alrighty. I wanted to talk about competition in the liquidation business. So, John, we all know you've been in here for 43 years. How competitive really is the liquidation business today? And are you constantly having to fight for deals, or is there enough inventory to go around for everybody?
I think it's how you look at the situation, because I remember I went to a leadership conference and there was a guy there speaking. He was the chief information officer for Yahoo.com at the time. And he said, everybody goes through life with either a scarcity mindset or a prosperity mindset. And that was the thing about his talk. So some people would answer you, Darin, and say, oh, the competition is fierce. It's more fierce now than it ever has been. And people are doing this and people are doing this. But I don't feel that I have any competition for people who click with my personality and I click with theirs. There's no competition there. There's just either we can do business or we can't do business. So I really never am considering, this is my competitor, this is my competitor. More what I consider than that is who can I work with? Who can I build an agreement with? Who can I build trust with? I just don't put any thought process into being competitive or being a competitor.
So has there ever been a moment that, a competitor has pushed you to do anything better? Or have you ever had a competitor in your 42 years?
I think that everything that we do is, someone really smart said, creativity is the art of hiding your source. And everything that we do is built upon something someone else did. So you look at what they did and you say, oh, well, I can do better. And there's very few things that doesn't apply. I mean, if you look at an iPhone and you say, I can do better, you better have a team behind you. It's hard to fathom that one person is going to outdo what those thousands of people have done in designing an iPhone. And I love Apple design in general, but I look at all kinds of other products and say, well, I can do better than that. And when it comes to doing better, I think that in the closeout business, it's communication and it's trust and it's speed and it's those kind of things that really come down to personal characteristics as much as company characteristics.
All right. So where's the line between healthy competition and unhealthy competition? Do you think that it's good to even have competition? Have that competitive side to you?
We're dealing every day in competitive situations. Yesterday we had a deal on 6 containers of stuff. We sent the samples to the customer, and the customer came back and said, "I think I want this," right? And I said, like with anything, give me a piece of paper. I'll take a purchase order, letter of intent, a deposit. Give me something that says that you want. And they said, "Okay, tomorrow." In the meantime, another offer comes in, right? So how do you navigate that situation? Yeah, that happens all the time. There's that kind of competition. There's also the competition. People love to go around you, and we've talked about that before. People think, okay, well, the way to win is to go around this person and cut them out of the deal and take it for myself. But the problem is that only works once, right? Yeah. It reminds me of that old Daffy Duck cartoon where he blows himself up, right? It's the best trick in the world, but you can only do it one time.
Right. You talk a lot about abundance and, in reality and everything like that. Does that philosophy ever conflict with the competitive nature of business? Or do you think that real abundance and real competition can coexist?
Again, I think that if you're focusing on the competitive, we're focusing on fighting, we're competing, I think that has a whole mindset unto itself that involves another person and involves another company, involves someone else. And my personal belief is that my thoughts shape my reality. So everything in my life starts with a thought. And I just don't think about competing. When it comes to abundance, there's plenty to go around. I think of the abundance coming to me. And if a competitor comes along and gets a deal from me, great. I just talked to someone this morning and we were working on a deal together. He sold it to someone else. The first thing out of my mouth was, good for you.
Right. Do you think, we're on social media, we're posting in all places. Do you think our competitors, the people that consider us as competitors, are watching us all the time? Everything that we got going on out there?
I think that it's hard to ignore, and we've talked about this in years past, because we quit all of our marketing and we went to Panama and did an enormous deal, and then we've come back and we've started our marketing again, and consistency is extremely hard to ignore. So are our competitors watching us or customers watching us? Of course they are, right? I think a lot of people would have a lot of difficulty doing a podcast on a daily basis, and we happen to have the resources to do it. So yeah, I think people are watching us, and I think that we're probably going to birth some other podcasts as a result of this.
Yep. Last question. Do you think the most successful people in this business are driven by competition or something else entirely?
I think a lot of people are driven by not necessarily competition, but just status. I'm bigger in the business than you are. I got more warehouses. I got more employees. I got more deals. I got more exclusive. I think they're just not in this business, in the world, right? It's I will feel better about myself if I am better than him, or if I have more than them, or if I have, and all of that is a very exhausting trail to go down. And I remember a point in my life where I didn't want to focus on competing anymore. I just wanted to be my own person, experience my own abundance, and attract into my life through the law of assumption the things that I desired. So I think it's an exhausting existence.
Yep. Well, that concludes my questions for the day. John?
Well, I just want to talk about something that my mentor said, that there's always a lot of confusion over the word enlightenment and what that means. And my mentor said, the eyes of a saint are always concentrated on the supreme self. The minute he's aware of himself, sainthood is lost. And what I want to say about sainthood is that when we're on a path where we'd like to get above everything in this world, right? Get above desire and above experience and all those things, we might be a saint this minute and the next minute not. And if you think about him as a person and know his story, and he became a yogi very young and also a householder. He had a family and he had children. He ended up having grandchildren. But very young, he did a tremendous amount of spiritual practice, a whole lot of meditation and a whole lot of other spiritual practices. And then he comes up with this quote in his older age and says, the eyes of a saint are always concentrated on the supreme self or the higher self or God, whatever you want to call that. The I am, right? The eyes of the saint are always concentrated on the I am. The minute he's aware of himself, sainthood is lost. So in the process of becoming a saint, in the process of illumination, there's a time where you go in and out of it. Does that seem to follow?
Yeah.
And the question that people watching this would ask is, why would you want to give up everything and become a saint? And the reason for that is so we don't reincarnate here anymore and suffer. Because saints have essentially ascended above suffering. It doesn't matter what happens to them. They give up all their possessions. They become what's called an ascetic. And they have given up suffering. It doesn't affect them anymore. And all of us, no matter how good it gets, when you're not a saint, you're still suffering.
What about those who don't believe in reincarnation, right? How can they follow his commandments, or like in this case, it's cool, right? Because I guess there's some
that's really interesting, Anthony. It's like saying, okay, well, what else do we not believe in? Reincarnation has massive evidence out there that you can go look at. So if someone doesn't believe in it, well, if you don't believe in reincarnation or you don't believe in the afterlife, you're not interested in anything about saints. And the saints tell us that you have to go through so many lives, you have to exhaust your desires before you can ever become a saint. So you have to be able to just give up desire like you give up a cup of tea or anything else. You say, I don't want that. You have to be able to just pass on all desire in order to be a saint. So Ram Dass used to say, there's no use in being a horny celibate. And what he meant is that people who give up sex, you can't say, well, I'm going to give up sex and then sit there and think, oh, I wish I had some sex, right? You have to be something you can just let go of it. Paul says in the Bible, right? He says some are given to be single and some need to get married so they don't burn with lust, right? Some are given to be single. It means I came in here and I have the ability to just say no to that.
Right. Yeah, I was just wondering, right? Because in regard to the quote, and like you said, going to reincarnate, they have this mentality. But I was wondering, what about those who don't believe in reincarnation? What would be the path for them, right? But you already explained it. That was my question, right?
Well, if you talk about someone who believes in a golden streets, heaven and a hell, right? If they think about that, this is not something that's going to identify them, because they've been taught, I just need to accept these ideas, right? They say, accept Jesus into your heart, accept these ideas, and you're going to go to golden streets, heaven forever. But that doesn't agree with the science of near-death experience and reincarnation. So if they want to believe that, well, what happens to that person? First of all, everyone goes to heaven and hell doesn't exist. The only hell that exists is in your consciousness on this planet. Right? So they believe in that. They die and they reincarnate basically in ignorance. And the saints of India and the saints of Asia, not just Indian saints, but Buddhist saints and Muslim saints, and they all say the same thing. If you don't believe in it, you don't realize it's happening.
Oh, okay. So can someone remember what they were in life?
Oh, absolutely. Lifetime? Oh, absolutely. There's a story of a child. Dr. Ian Peterson was a scientist at the University of Virginia for years and years and years, and published thousands and thousands of case studies of children who claimed to have been someone else in another life. And he went out and investigated them. And then he passed his mantle to Dr. Jim Tucker, who's still at the University of Virginia, has written a bunch of books, including Life After Life, which is a fantastic book. And they went out and investigated this. So they go out and investigate the child, says I was someone before, and they go look for the original family of the child and the original circumstances and things. And there's some pretty shocking stories that have come out of that, including a child that said, I was murdered, and that's the guy who murdered me, and this is where he lives, and this is how he murdered me. And they actually went and found the guy and arrested him for that murder from the child's testimony. So yeah, there's if you want, but again, it's like the UFO thing, right? Everybody would say, well, if you believe in UFOs, you're crazy. And that went on for 50 years. And now we have the government just dumping all this information out there saying, yeah, that was all true. At any moment, we're going to have a video of a real alien. It's coming, right? They're going to say, here's an alien. Here's what they look like. This is who they, I mean, that's on the way. But for 50 years, everybody was saying you're crazy. And I've had conversations with people about reincarnation, and they look at me like I'm crazy. And I say that there's scientific evidence about this, and they won't go look at it. They just say, I don't believe it. Great. That's your reality. That's your consciousness. Completely, you're right. But there's the evidence right there, like 25,000 cases of near death.
Right, because there's people that believe, for example, if you give them that story, they would say it's just a glitch in the Matrix, right? They would just sit on it and say it's a glitch, right? It's a glitch in Matrix.
But how many people make summary decisions about whole things in their life and say that's this way, and then their mind is unopened to any other possibility?
That's right. We talked about that before, right? The blind trust, right? You're blind in something and you don't want to see reality.
Blind faith. Don't have it.
Right.
Don't have blind faith. God doesn't expect you to have blind faith. Don't.
It's like the doctor giving you should always go for a second opinion. You know, if he says, hey, you got cancer, you should go to another doctor and say, hey, is this what this guy's saying?
Yeah. All right. It's about that time, gentlemen.
I'd say so.
We are the crew of Proven Performer, and we sell big closeout deals. I'm John Clark, along with Darin Fingleton and Anthony Ferguson. And every day we're selling something fantastic, something interesting, something that you can make a bunch of money on. We feature at least one deal every day. Today, we have the Brewista electric kettles. Now, I got to tell you, if there's one thing that gets used in our house more than anything else, it's the electric kettle. We're heating water constantly. So you need to have a good one. Brewista, in this deal, we have several different models. It's completely manifested. There are a total of 5,000 units in this, including some digital thermometers. Again, completely manifested, and we can send it to you. There's a shot of them sitting in the warehouse. And this is being sold at 15% of the retail value. So just to give you a little bit of idea here, what we're talking about, on that top end kettle that you see right there on the left, which is the Brewista Smart Brew automatic tea kettle, retail $139.95. Your cost only $21. So on the low end, we've got some that retail just at like $43.99, $54.99, right in there. Those are going to cost you $6 or $7. This is an incredible deal. 5,000 pieces. You must take it all. It's on 21 pallets. X-Works, California, from Brewista. Electric kettles. They never going out of style. Never ever going out of style. Everybody wants them. Everybody's got to have it. And you got models here all the way from the basic entry model all the way up to the super duper Superman version. 5,075 pieces in total, 21 pallets, X-Works, California, Brewista at 15 cents on the dollar. Super cheap, a great investment. Reach out to one of us at the phone numbers below on WhatsApp or via email. We'll be happy to send you this manifest and talk to you about it. And if you've got another big problem you want us to talk about, something else in your inventory that you can't move, and it's several truckloads, please talk to us. The consultation is free. We'd be happy to help you. We sell to 500 customers in 26 different countries. We don't have any problem obeying your restrictions and keeping it quiet if that's what you want us to do. Do it every day. Been doing it for years and years and years, decades actually. So please reach out to us at Proven Performer if we can help either buying or selling, and we'll be happy to do whatever we can. Thanks so much for listening today, the Made in Paradise podcast. Again, I'm John Clark along with Darin and Anthony. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.